Hey everybody, welcome back to another RCT2 review. Today we are wrapping up our reviews of Head-to-Head 9 Round 4. This is match number 3 featuring the Manual Laborers versus Logan's Run. So we'll start with Manual Laborers. If you thought that our team's park in Round 2 had the longest name in the competition, the Manual Laborers will take that one back here. This park is officially called the Diegetic Underground, Shadrach Stewart's Secret Subterranean Sanctuary, or a study in themes canonically indoors for the modern amusement park, featuring the impossible underwater base, the dazzling glowing forests, and the mysterious Yellowstone caverns. So, after that mouthful, let's check out what we're actually doing here. So this is a really interesting park, and honestly, this may be one of the sleeper parks for me for the contest. I really enjoyed this park. The premise is an indoor park with, looking at some sort of common indoor type themes for rides. One of the things that you do need to do is when you download this park, and you should download it, is listen to the custom audio file. You don't need to put it into the park. You can just listen to it on Windows Media Player or whatever your player of choice is. But it's really hilarious. Basically, it's the hero of the story, I guess, Shadrach Stewart, here promoting this park and kind of pitching it as if it were like a sales pitch to Disney. And it's very clever. And actually, right here, you can see here's Mr. Shadrach Stewart here doing his pitch practice for the park itself. So the idea is this is a big indoor park and has all similar themes that you might expect, and some really interesting themes at that. So we've got a good entry area here, some very overgrown heavy rock work, just sort of this very mystical feeling for the whole thing. This cool kind of viewing circle into the water below. You have this grating across the whole thing, so it's very much a sort of mysterious fantasy type setting. A lot of the radio tower type things and the different architecture really lends itself to that sort of mysterious whole vibe for the whole thing. So if you spin around, you can see all the guests take escalators down into this huge arched kind of main atrium space in here with a huge whale and giant squid hanging up above, with the just a lot of cool little viewing things. There's a globe down here that you can circle around, and each of the 3 areas of the park kind of branch off from this different area. So let's spin around to this side first, and for lack of a better term, we're just going to call this area Bioshock because that's more or less what it is. So underwater base is sort of the official name for it, but you see it's very heavily Bioshock themed if you've played the game. So that's not a bad thing by any means. So I'm a huge fan of that. So we've got a couple cool rides here. This is Dark Ride here, the Bathysphere Metro, and pretty cool signage and detailing here. You can have some of the flashing lights and that sort of thing. I love this submarine that's hanging out right here. And then we're going to pick up this coaster at some point here, partway through. Maybe not. If we get rid of our scenery here, we can see it a little bit better. So this is Deep Sea Explorer, this purple coaster. A little bit hard to see. Launch coaster coming through this whole space. Actually runs its way all the way over to the other side, kind of underneath and through some of the other areas here. But you have some pretty cool detailing here, like the high pressure signage and the water spilling out from there, and just all sorts of fun little details through the whole thing. One probable complaint that I think a lot of people will have, and I have the same, is that it's hard to read. So everything is on top of each other, which, the idea was that this is a park that is all crammed together inside this indoor space and has really heavy theming and sort of this over the top look to everything, which is great. It's just really difficult to see everything, so you end up hiding scenery and going back and forth to actually be able to follow everything around. Um, there's a lot of glass going on here and a lot of this blue glass, so it becomes a little overpowering. I kind of would have liked to have seen more of this architecture, but I can't fault it too hard because I think it's really beautiful, and I like the comments or the layout of all these different areas, and I do love the theme. Bioshock is one of my favorite games, so this one definitely pulls a win in my book for all that. If we spin around to area number 2, so this is the glowing forests, and we've got our own coaster in here too, or actually a nice big rapids ride, uh, which I do kind of appreciate. There's not a huge coaster in every area. We've got 2 big coasters, which you'll see the next one here in a minute. This one really focuses on this rapids ride and doing it really well. The big thing for this one is all these custom trees, which are really cool. Again, they block everything, so it's really difficult to see what's going on. But beautiful, beautiful world creation throughout. I love this little kind of grotto area here where you can kind of pass through, and this is your gate here to the glowing forest itself. You can spin around and see that this takes you over to the Yellowstone area here, which we'll see in just a minute. But really cool stuff. Let's hide some stuff, and you can see here this big dragonfly coming around here, all these different creatures, and nice little drop tower here integrated into the tree itself. This is very cool. Water being used pretty well here. With water kind of eliminates you from doing a whole lot of multi-level type stuff, unless you're kind of building scenery over top of it. But it's done really well here, and actually, I like this kind of chasm in the middle with this little drop out of the sort of ruins as you go past the waterfall. And we've got this weird, interesting spiral lift up to the actual station itself. Another good use of the spiral station moving platform again. Smaller area, a little kind of narrow compared to the larger Bioshock area. And saving the best for last, or at least in my opinion, is the Yellowstone area, which is built up in such a way that I think the viewing is a lot easier. So it's sort of high to low, stacked down onto the side, which kind of lets you see a little more of what's going on the whole way around. So let's pick up the Geyser Cave Mine Incorporated. So this is a spinning coaster using the mock spinning coaster cars that Space K put together. And it's super, super well integrated into the rockwork and the landscape throughout, and the rides as well. I love this big, like, double helix thing around the drop tower here in the middle. And then up and around some of these things, like this big crane holding the load. And then, too, working around the log flume. So this integrates 2 rides really, really well. You can see here we come in for a second lift hill over here. And around, and you can see the track here that goes off into nothing as this one dives and turns down. I like the use of the mine train track here that's covering over top, used in a couple spots. Not just this one, but also this guy right here that has these great little curvatures through the whole thing. Taking maybe a little bit fast. That could be a lot for some of those guests, but not too bad. And then, of course, back down here into your station and everything else that's down in there. So there's a lot of good details here, and especially once you spin around, you can see the log flume coming up the water wheel here on the side, mine shaft, and some other things. Then you have the geyser with the different colors of water throughout. The yellow and the pink is a pretty nice touch for the whole thing. The use of the orange rock, I think, is a pretty good choice because it really offsets to the other areas. So you kind of have these primary colors. You got your blue and your tan on this side. You've got your orange and your grays on this side, and you really got your green and blues on this side. That really make each area stand out on its own and kind of do its own thing. And I like how each of those kind of sit together. Major complaint again being the fact that it's just as chaotic as it is. It's just hard to read in a lot of spaces. Like I feel like there's a lot of cool details that I probably miss just by not going in there and fully dissecting the park. But certainly worth doing that and taking your time through it because you do get a pretty good appreciation for the detail level in here, which I certainly have. So congratulations to the manual laborers. This was the winning park, and they did a very nice job on it. Well, let's jump over to Logan's Brewery, which is the competition here. This is my team, Logan's Run, with 40% from Trav, 30% from Mr. Brightside, and 30% from Mavericks. So this is sort of just a fun concept park. The idea is we have Logan's Brewery here, so this sort of Busch Gardens-esque concept of a brewery that has a theme park around it. Certainly working within the confines of the tile limit. There's a lot crammed in here, and some funny stuff. The premise is pretty lighthearted, pretty fun, and pretty straightforward. But there's just a lot of fun details through the whole thing. You come into this, tap filling up this beer mug throughout the whole space, and you've got the beer wagon, which is another one of the custom rides from Kinos, which you'll see a few of those throughout the space. Fun detail there, kind of a difference from the Main Street Disney type vehicles. More brewery and beer themed, and there's all sorts of beer jokes throughout, as you would expect. Some great architecture here on the front with Trav carrying a lot of that. Some pretty cool little details, billboards, vehicles, things like that. So on the water here, you've got this kind of nice old warehouse industrial type architecture with the lights and everything. So this is the Logan's Craft House here. We've got this nice little snippet of an elevated railway, which I like this because it really reads as a theming piece. So it reads as sort of a theme park element. So that's a very nicely put together detail there. Here we have the nice riverboat with the fantastic name of the Yas Queen. So gotta enjoy some of those fun details. And then the brewery itself, we'll use cutaway here in a minute, but we've got a nice rooftop terrace up top with the Logan's brewery logo here on the big tower. And then our main coaster over here, which is the Logan's Beer Run, as you might expect. So this is a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. This is based off of Karnat at Hansa Park in Germany. If you're not familiar with that park or that ride, and you don't want to get a spoiler, stop listening for about 20 seconds here. So this coaster has a feature that is featured on Karnat at Hansa Park, which is a reversing lift. So on the real one, you go up the lift hill and you drop backwards, free fall down, it catches, and then it goes up and over again. So we can see our coaster here starting inside, dropping throughout, and then popping out to go up this lift hill. Throughout, too, you're going to see all these fun clickable characters. So there's always kind of funny little jokes about the very mature groundskeeper here building a nice little penis in plants. So here we go, coming up the lift, and we're about to crest, and then we'll fall back down before it picks up and goes up the whole thing again. So definitely heavily inspired by Karnat, especially the layout itself with these pretty hefty supports and really thick, detailed, kind of mess of columns and everything like that, with this kind of weird, twisty element there. So this was sort of a combination of Mavericks and Mr. Brightside putting this layout together, and I think they did a pretty nice job to make what is otherwise kind of an ugly coaster in real life turn out pretty well. So if we keep working our way through, we get over here to the rail yard next, which has these absolutely fantastic kind of oversized train cars, a bunch of just different rail cars, and then the steam engine here at the back with a maintenance shed here and a little roundhouse. What's cool on this is that the turntable is used as the queue entrance for our coaster here. So this is Crazy Train. It's a little gravity group wooden coaster that Mr. Brightside put together. Very nice little layout here that squeezes in a coaster in a space where there's not a whole lot of room for one. Also got Gold Strike here, a nice little drop tower, and then a shoestring teacups ride. Then over on this side, we've got our kind of signature themed ride. So this is the Journey to Boozlantis, as of course you might expect from a beer themed park. So our take on Journey to Atlantis, I suppose. And I really, really like this ride. So it's got all this great layering, pretty cool rock work throughout. Love the waterfalls dropping down, and this one going through the famous backside of water. And then our main drop here that crosses underneath all three of these and then pops up and into the splash point. So that's a very Disney Splash Mountain-esque design. And this sign is pretty cool here, just how it wraps the whole thing. So Kinos made these cars for us based on the Intamin vehicles on Chiapas at Fantasialand. Definitely a useful vehicle that I'm sure we're going to see in plenty of other parks here moving forward. Let's drop our cutaway view here and take a look inside the brewery itself. So up top we've got the shuttered brewery location here, which looks like it's part of a tour that the guests can walk through. And then you drop down even further, and we've got our lower area, which has this fantastic biplane hanging from the ceiling, and then a bunch of these little kind of food and beverage type booths throughout the space, so sort of this market-esque feel to the whole thing. And then over here, the loading station for the coaster itself. And if you drop down even further, you can kind of see some of the other like beer tasting areas, some of the seats. And I love the stills here behind the glass. It's a nice little detail throughout. I think what I appreciated about this park is that the premise is kind of ridiculous, and all the Frozen staff are funny and, you know, playing off of the beer jokes and things like that, but the whole thing turned out pretty classy. Like, I really appreciate the architecture of the brewery itself. It feels sort of legit New England style old brew house, with the big windows and the brick and everything like that. I think the main street is really well done. Trav did a very nice job there. You got the sort of Six Flags America-esque entry with the columns and everything. Just really well put together. You know, unassuming, but it does its job very well, in my opinion. Ultimately, the manual laborers took home the win, but it was closer than you might expect, 31 to 26. So we almost got it, but pretty close there in the end. But I think both parks turned out really nicely, and they both have some pretty cool elements to it. So definitely get the download and enjoy them for yourself. Alrighty, so that is it for match 3, round 4. So now we have 3 more round robin rounds. Then we have the semifinals and the finals, which are upcoming. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. We will be back with round 5 in the next video. So I will see you in that one. Thank you very much. Bye now.